everyone. My name is Ryan. This is my co-host, Austin.
How y'all doing?
Welcome to our podcast, Next Man Up. First, let's go ahead and get into the Deshaun Watson news.
Yep, obviously some more shocking news to come out past week or so, past couple weeks. Ryan, what do you think about it?
I think it's really interesting that Deshaun went from being the future of the franchise to requesting a trade. I think it has to do with maybe going back to Bill O'Brien.
Absolutely, and you think it's a funny situation for the Texans. They drafted Deshaun Watson, they were a QB away from being contenders, and now they only have a QB, so what does that mean for the future?
I also think he hasn't been happy with them since DeAndre Hopkins got traded. They were best friends. He was top 5, probably number 1 receiver in the league.
Absolutely, and then you also got to think about it, his displeasure with him not even getting a say in the new GM hiring.
He was not very happy about that, and you put that together with the Hopkins trade, and you're looking at a mess in Houston.
Yeah, it's just a terrible tipping point. Now, where are some options that he could go? Because we know a couple teams might need a new QB. You know, the Colts.
The Colts definitely need a quarterback. Phil Rivers could be retiring. I also saw that Tyrann Mathieu, who used to be his teammate in Houston, said teams like the Niners, the Bears, and the Colts, like you mentioned, could be interested in trading for Watson. What do you think a package would take to get a quarterback of his talent?
Deshaun Watson easily. Go back to Herschel Walker back in the 90s. That was a monumental draft package. Now with Deshaun Watson, obviously, elite QB talent. It's going to take a similar amount of value to acquire him.
Yeah, I'm thinking at least 2 to 3 firsts, so maybe a second or third.
It's going to be at least 4 firsts. It's going to take a couple decent players. Maybe it's going to take at least maybe 3 to 4 first-round picks, a couple Pro Bowlers. Because as we know, Deshaun Watson, elite talent, easily top 5 QB, maybe top 3.
Absolutely. Let's go right into it. I'm going to say he ends up in Chicago. That defense, you give Deshaun Watson that defense, you're looking at a definite Super Bowl contender.
Right, but once again, it's Chicago we're talking about. Are they really going to make a move for Watson, or?
I guess that's true. I could see them making the move, although they do have Nick Foles' big cap salary, which is, I think, $15 million. And they have Allen Robinson's impending free agency.
Now, how would Deshaun Watson fare in San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan? That could be
interesting. They got Deebo Samuel. They got Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, best tight end in the game, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, like 49ers, they were super good last year. This year they had QB injuries. They had it 2 years ago and 3 years ago.
Defensive injuries, too. They lost Nick Bosa.
Yep, so that's been a huge problem. Deshaun Watson has been... He's been very sturdy. He's been a playable guy, 16, 15 games a year.
Not to mention, Watson's career, he's never really had a good offensive line, and San Francisco's got probably a top 5 when they're healthy.
Yep. I've seen rumors about the Saints being interested in Watson. Now, even
that's scary. That could be scary, because there you got Michael Thomas. Sean Payton's obviously an awesome coach, and who better to replace a legendary quarterback like Drew Brees than Deshaun Watson, who's already a top 5 quarterback himself?
Yep.
Well, if you had to make a prediction, where would you say he ends up?
Indianapolis.
I'm going to go Chicago. I'm going to stick to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick to that. All right, so there's the Watson news. Heading up, we got NFL Wildcard weekend starting tomorrow.
First games would be the Colts at the Bills, 7 seed versus 2 seed. Personally, I think the Bills have this one in the bag. I don't think Colts are going to contend much, but there are obviously a couple game plans they could go into it with, maybe shock some of us.
I think I agree with you. I think the Bills take it. If I'm the Bills, I am worried about Jonathan Taylor. He finished the season on a hot streak. I think he averaged like 130 yards per game over the last 5 or 6 games. Do you think the Bills can stop him?
I don't think it's a question of whether the Bills can stop Jonathan Taylor. I think it's more if their running game can overcome the Colts' running game and kind of balance that whole thing out.
Do you think Josh Allen can attack that secondary successfully?
Absolutely. Josh Allen can attack any defense in the league. Put in the 49ers, you throw deep, make a run for it. It's like Lamar Jackson. You can never plan for him.
I agree. I also like Stephon Diggs made Josh Allen a top 10 quarterback, in my opinion.
Oh, Josh is better than top 10. He's top 8 at worst.
Okay. All right. So what would be your prediction for the game, the Colts-Bills?
I got Bills winning 28-18.
I'm going to say Bills 31-24.
See, my biggest thing is, Colts have a little bit of weakness in their secondary, so when the game gets tight,
They do.
late game, they get tired. I think that's going to be Josh Allen's time to run away with it.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I'm going to say 31-24 Bills.
Okay?
And overtime. I'm going to add the overtime too.
Overtime. I like it.
Both pick. All right, who we got next?
Next game, Saturday, Rams at Seahawks.
Okay, the Rams may not have Jared Goff. I think John Wolford is their backup. He would start. Seattle's defense got better over the second half of the year.
Completely. They started off horrible, averaging over 350 yards per game, but they really dialed that down. I think they're around 290 now.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely something to look out for.
I think Russell Wilson is going to lock back in, take advantage of the left side. Jalen Ramsey's their right side cornerback. Jalen Ramsey is also a top 3 corner in the league, maybe number 1. I think it's going to be a blowout in Seattle's favor. I'm going to say 35-14.
Really? See, Jalen Ramsey has held DK Metcalf in their last 2 appearances. Okay, I messed that up.
You're good. Last 2 games. Just before you. So in their last 2. There you go.
In Seattle's final 4 games, DK Metcalf has been very underwhelming, which I think is something to look out for. He is combined for under 100 total yards.
Wow. I was not aware of that.
Yep, under 400.
He still has Tyler Lockett.
Tyler Lockett's been good, but then Russell Wilson has also had his own fair share of struggles.
He did struggle down the stretch.
Yep, and especially against these top teams. It has not been the Russell Wilson we know.
So you think it's going to be close?
I think it's going to be close. I think the Rams have this one.
Whoa, the Rams!
Got to upset in Seattle.
The Rams. I'm going to stick with Seattle. I'll lower it. I'll say 35-21. I'll give it
35-21. I got 21-17. I think it's going to be a defensive-heavy matchup, especially because we don't know if Jared Goff's going to play.
All right, I like that. Next game we got tomorrow night, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Washington football team. As much as I would not like to, I'm going to say Tampa takes this one. Tom Brady heated up down the stretch.
Yep.
I think he was averaging 307 yards per game. His QBR was like 129 over the final stretch. I do like the Washington defense, obviously. Tom Brady has not seen a front like that all year. Yeah, what do you think about the football team defense?
The football team defense elite. It's been borderline elite. It's been top 5 all season. I don't think it's a question of whether Washington can defend Tampa Bay. I think it's whether Washington can score on Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay has also had a fairly decent defense throughout the year.
That's true. The big line in this game is Tampa might be without Mike Evans. That's a big loss.
Obviously, they got Antonio Brown to back him up.
Chris Godwin.
Rob Gronkowski has had a couple good games.
They got Godwin. They're also their top corner, Carlton Davis, may be out for tomorrow night's game.
Which could be something to look at, but we know Washington's offense has been super inconsistent even against a bad team.
That's true. Well, my prediction is Tampa Bay 28, Washington 24.
I have Tampa Bay running away with it. I got them 38-12.
To 12. Wow. Okay.
I don't think it's going to be close.
Well, I sure hope it is. Then we open up Sunday. We got the Titans and the Ravens.
Titans-Ravens. I think it's the most interesting game of the Wildcard weekend. You got, Ravens got absolutely manhandled by Tennessee last year.
Yeah. Lamar Jackson, though, did heat up after he came off the COVID-19 list. He's been pretty unstoppable the second half of the year. Obviously, Derrick Henry ran for over 2,000 yards this season. I think Baltimore may have a hard time stopping him.
Right, but they also have those defensive line improvements. They got Calais Campbell. They got Yannick Ngakoue.
That's true.
So that's definitely
that is very
a lot
true.
has changed since last year when they played.
I think that game may be a shootout. I'm going to say 35-31 Baltimore.
Baltimore got him 35-31. I like it. Well, Lamar Jackson, like you said, he's heated up.
Yeah.
He's never thrown an interception in the rest of his career.
That's
we know
true.
he can get there all the time. J.K. Dobbins.
Dobbins has been awesome down the stretch.
Yep. So if they can run their way up in there, Mark Ingram, they got that two-headed rushing attack. Lamar Jackson makes it 3.
That's true.
I got to get in there a lot. I got Baltimore winning this one in a shootout, like Ryan said, but it'd be a little bit more lower scoring. I think it'd be 25-21 Baltimore.
Okay. All right. Then we have the Saints and the Bears. It's a pretty hard game to pick.
It's not going to be close. Like, I'm going to say it now. Saints are running away with it.
Really?
I think Tampa Bay, Washington's going to be bad. Saints and Bears will be even worse.
Really? Even with the way Trubisky played down the stretch for Chicago?
Trubisky is Trubisky.
I mean, he is still Trubisky, but Drew Brees had the problems of his own.
He's had a little bit, but Drew Brees also has great offense to back him up. He's got Alvin Kamara who's going to be playing.
And he's got all the experience.
Michael Thompson will be back. He's going to be 100%.
Is he back?
Yep.
Okay, well that helps. I did not know Thomas was back. I don't think it's going to be a runaway. I think New Orleans will win easy, but not a blowout. I'll say 28-10.
28-10. I have, like I said, Mitch Trubisky. Don't really trust him in the playoffs. I don't even trust him in the regular season. Got benched early on.
He did get benched for Nick Foles.
So I got the Saints winning this one, 35-18.
Okay. All right, that brings us to maybe, other than the Titans-Ravens, this is a divisional game in the playoffs. The Browns take on the Steelers in Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football.
Now this one's going to be fun, especially with Juju Smith-Schuster coming out earlier today saying it's just the Browns.
Yes.
He sounds super confident about that.
Juju did say that he thinks it's the same old Browns. He doesn't care that they won 11-5.
Now a lot of us thought it was the same old Browns until they played the Ravens. Barely lost that one. So
I think the Browns are coming out for the upset in this game. Baker's been awesome of late. Jarvis Landry put that nagging ankle injury behind him. They got Austin Hooper. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are unstoppable in the run game. I'm going to go Browns 21-17.
This is going to be a game of defense. I don't think saying the Browns are going to win is even an upset, especially seeing how Pittsburgh has played against the better teams. They couldn't beat Washington. They couldn't beat Cincinnati.
That's true.
And Cleveland has put together a little bit of a hot streak.
Yes, they have.
Going to the playoffs. So I got Cleveland winning this one.
Except they lost to the Jets.
Whoa now. I got Cleveland winning this one 25-19.
25-19. All right. So there's the playoff predictions. We have another big game coming up on Monday night, not NFL. We have the college football championship between Alabama and Ohio State. I know you don't watch much college, but if you had to make a prediction, where would you go with that?
Ohio State in this one, a little bit of a bold statement, but Ohio State has that superpower offense, so...
I agree. I'm going to go Ohio State. Justin Fields looked awesome against Clemson's defense.
Absolutely.
Ohio State 28-24. I think it'll still be close.
I think Ohio State is a lot comparable to LSU last year, not in terms of star power, but their matchups, they're going to be tough to guard. They have elite weapons. They have a lot of them.
Trey Sermon has run for over 200 yards in the last 3 games. So I don't know if Alabama's front can stop Trey Sermon. And he's a great pass catcher. You could easily see Sermon go over 300 yards in this game, in my opinion.
This will be fun, though. Alabama, once again back, Nick Saban. How close is he to retiring? How many more championships does he want?
That's true. Mac Jones is going to be a player to watch in this game because he went from being projected to go late in the draft, and now people are saying he could go early in the first round this year.
Absolutely, especially with a lot of teams who might need new quarterbacks. Mac Jones is definitely an NFL talent.
Absolutely. They also, Jalen Waddle is questionable. He broke his ankle, I think it was week 5, and he's questionable to play.
Yeah.
So this should be an interesting game.
So these QBs definitely have chips on their shoulders. They have a lot to prove coming into this year's draft.
Especially Ohio State, when people were saying they shouldn't even make the college football playoff due to only playing 7 games. And not that they get in, but now they're in the championship. They have a chance to shock the world and take down number 1.
Yep, these two high-powered offenses. I got Ohio State winning this one, 38-32.
Okay.
What about you, Ryan?
I said 28-24, Ohio State.
28-24. I like it. Close game, good game. It's how college football playoff should be.
Hopefully. I know there is a chance it's postponed due to COVID, but they said it's on track. So let's hope that we have the game.
Yep. All right, now let's take it from the NFL realm over to the NBA world. Now we'll take a moment to talk about the New York Knicks and what Tom Thibodeau has done with this organization.
They have been a very surprising team this year. You got Julius Randle, who's averaging almost a triple-double.
Right, Julius Randle has been maybe the surprise of the NBA year so far. Like, he started out hot before, but he's
maintaining it this year.
He's looked like an all-star caliber player. He's looked like a possible MVP candidate. I know that's a lot to say, but this is just going off the
If he keeps it up, I think he could be in the consideration. Obi Toppin, their first-round pick, has not played much. I think he has a calf strain.
Yep.
So they're being successful without him. Alfred Payton, who was there last year, had a bit of a down year. He's having a pretty good start to the season. What do you think about RJ Barrett?
He's shown flashes like he did last year, but once again, he's still super inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
And that worries me a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a worry for him. When he's hot, I mean, he's on, but if he's not on fire, he's not very consistent with the ball at all. His defense looks like it's fallen off from college, too.
Yep. But, Tom Thibodeau. I mean, he's looked like Tom Thibodeau. He's playing the starters 40 minutes a game, but
true.
This is the first time in a while New York basketball looks like an actual basketball team.
It's got to have fans in New York excited.
I know. Even though they can't see it, I know they're sitting at home screaming at the TV, super happy about the basketball they've been seeing.
Absolutely. Another team that's surprising, the Cavs.
The Cavs
are doing pretty good.
Colin Sexton's averaging 25 points on 50% from the field, 50% from
Sexton's
three.
had a great year.
He's taken a huge step from year 1 to year 2, and now year 2 to year 3.
Yeah, and they're also doing it without Kevin Love, who many thought would be the best player on the team.
Well, Kevin Love, injury concerns since LeBron left.
Yep.
He hasn't played much.
That's true. Darius Garland.
He's
had a good start to the year as well.
Surprising, underwhelming year last year.
Absolutely.
Did not shoot great. Was super inefficient, and was just overall made the team worse when he was on the court.
Yeah. Let's go down from some surprise teams that are good, to surprise teams that have been worse than we thought they would be. The Denver Nuggets have had a terrible start to the year.
Denver Nuggets, that's not entirely on them, though. The players have played good. Jamal Murray had a couple bad games to start, but he's really picked it up now. It looked like the Jamal Murray we saw in the bubble.
The bubble Jamal Murray was amazing. Michael Porter Jr. had COVID and missed a bunch of games. I think that may have something to do with that.
Yep, I believe that they just put him back in a 10-day.
Yes, he got re-quarantined. I know he was averaging like 20 and 7 before he got hurt.
He was playing great.
The Clippers have underperformed a little bit. They won opening night, but then they lost. They lost in Mavericks by 52.
New coach, new system. Well, not necessarily new system. They got a new coach. It's going to take some getting used to.
I think so.
So I don't think it's time to press the panic button yet, but
I do think that's a really bad loss to the Mavericks without their second best.
That was horrible. That was disgusting. I wouldn't even expect the Hornets to lose that bad, but the Clippers,
terrible,
who should be playing championship level basketball,
it was terrible. And let's go ahead and get down to a fan favorite. Almost everyone loves LaMelo Ball. How do you think he started his career in Charlotte?
I think you can compare him a lot to Lonzo's first few games.
I think better than Lonzo, actually.
Better. I agree. LaMelo and Lonzo both had horrible first games of their career. They both bounced back, had 20-point. Lonzo had a 20-point triple-double the second game. LaMelo was super close to one.
Mm-hmm.
But Lonzo has picked up his game this year.
He has.
He's improved his shooting year by year.
If you want to stick with the Ball family, LiAngelo Ball just signed a G League contract playing the bubble.
Yeah, he was with the Thunder's G League team last year. He signed with the Pistons for a few days this year.
Yeah. Going back to Charlotte, I think they may be a surprise team for the 8th seed this year if they can all stay healthy.
Well, they've gotten off to I wouldn't say a bad start. Their record isn't great, but I think they've played some decent basketball. Terry Rozier that was like number one option.
Yes. Devontae Graham has fallen back off, which they did not expect.
Well, last year he was essentially the number one option. He took a bunch of shots. He shot poorly.
He did not shoot very well. Bismack Biyombo is playing good basketball. I think he's averaging 8 and 8. It's pretty good for him.
For Biyombo?
For Bismack Biyombo,
that's pretty good.
Good numbers.
The Hawks have maybe been the surprise team of the NBA.
Trae Young is obviously doing his thing. I like the Bogdan Bogdanovic pickup a lot.
Yep, I like what DeAndre Hunter's done to improve his game this year.
Hunter's been great. John Collins is still getting his.
John Collins report came out earlier today. He is unhappy with Trae running all the offense. They got into an argument. Yep, they got into an argument during a film session.
Wow.
John Collins seems unhappy. He still said he's his bro though, so is that like actual beef they have, or is it just John Collins is a little unhappy with his role?
I just know they've been really tight since Trae's been there. They'll probably finally work it out. I think the player they're going to trade is Clint Capella.
Clint Capella?
And he's doing good. I think he's having 14.
Yeah, I don't know if Clint Capella is really expendable at this point because he's really the only person they have except for DeAndre Hunter who can consistently play good defense.
That's true.
John Collins couldn't defend a high school coach's son player. So Clint Capella is an extremely important anchor on that team's defense.
They're doing this well, though, and they don't even have Gallinari. He's sprained his ankle.
No, but Gallinari puts up a bunch of points, but once again, also
Not a good defender.
Not a good defender, which is going to be a real pattern with this Atlanta team, especially if they make it to the playoffs.
I like the Rondo signing, though. Rondo gives them some veteran leadership.
Yep.
He's a great defender.
Gives them great depth at the point guard position.
Absolutely. And then they signed Chris Dunn, who's a good defender. He hasn't even played much.
Yeah, you know you got a good team if Chris Dunn isn't really playing basketball.
Yeah, that's true. Another team you can go to is the Phoenix Suns. The big acquisition of Chris Paul. Healthy DeAndre Ayton. They got Jay Crowder, shoot threes.
That was huge. That Chris Paul signing was huge for that team. They had a bunch of young guys. They could all play basketball, but they needed that veteran piece to get everyone together.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I think they're doing all right. I saw they struggled the other night, but Devin Booker himself is struggling. I don't think he's struggling as much because of him. I think he's having to learn that, hey, I don't have to take every shot.
Yeah,
I think he's like, hey, I finally have help here. Like, I have people that help me score.
Absolutely.
McCall Bridges is also taking a big leap for the Suns.
Yeah, because he was really just a 3D player before, and now he can actually have the ball in his hands and be productive with it. He's not as much an off-ball player. If you need him to play on-ball, he does great with that.
Yep. The Thunder. We want to cover the Thunder real quick. You got Shea, obviously getting his. Their surprise player is Basley. Is it Baisley or Basley?
It's Baisley.
He's doing pretty good. I think he's putting up 19 a game.
Yep, he went overseas to play instead of college. Now a lot of people thought he'd be great. Drafted late in the first round. Had an underwhelming rookie year last year, but he don't like the Darius Baisley. We thought he'd be in high school this year.
Yeah.
But obviously lost Steven Adams and lost Chris Paul, so the record doesn't reflect how good some of these players actually are.
And Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, Dennis Schroeder went to LA.
He did. Let's cover the Lakers. Obviously, they have LeBron. They re-signed AD to the 5-year deal.
Yep.
Made the move for Dennis. They brought in Wesley Matthews. Stole Montrezl Harrell from the Clippers. I believe they're 7-3 to start.
Yep, they've been pretty good. They're still trying to work out the kinks with all these new players. They're getting their chemistry together.
Mm-hmm.
So, LeBron James, 23, 8, and 8. That's what we've come to expect from him. Numbers are a little bit down, but he doesn't have the ball as much, which is a good thing.
A lot of people were making a big stink about AD. He didn't have a block for the first 3 or 4 games. But I know the last 2 he's had 3 blocks each game.
Yep.
I was like, I think he'll settle in.
Anthony Davis isn't a guy you can really count out. I mean, we know he's a potential MVP level talent, especially potential defensive player of the year.
Absolutely.
Talent. There was a good chance he could have done last year.
Mm-hmm. So, I thought he should have been. And then we can go to Milwaukee, where you have Giannis.
Actually, defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
And the reigning MVP. First time ever that's happened.
Back-to-back MVPs.
They look good. They still have their weaknesses. I mean, it's the same Bucks team we've seen the last 3 years.
Yep. I like the move for Drew Holiday a lot. He brings them some more veteran leadership, and Drew's an awesome defender.
Yep.
That'll help in matchups against teams like the Celtics or the Heat, who are very guard-heavy.
Absolutely.
Then we can go to the Celtics. Jaylen Brown is having a career here.
Jaylen has taken a leap that we saw Jason Tatum take last year, and now there's questions with this roster who's the real number 1 option. Now a lot of people still say Tatum. He's hit 2 game winners this year, one on the Bucks and one on the Pistons. Yep.
I love Jason Tatum. I think he's still your number 1.
Yep.
But I don't think Jaylen Brown is number 2. He's like 1B. Tatum's 1A and Brown is 1B.
I agree completely. And they still put together good basketball, even though they're missing Kemba Walker. But both of them have lacked the in-game consistency to be considered superstars. So I think they're both at the borderline level. Tatum's at the borderline level. Jaylen Brown's all-star level.
I like the Tristan Thompson signing a lot for Boston.
That was huge. Especially helped with the rebounding problem. Doesn't help much on defense, but it fixes the rebounding problem that's plagued Boston for the entire decade.
And one of my favorite moves that the Celtics made, I've told you, I love the drafting of Peyton Pritchard.
He's been incredible. He hit a game-winning putback the other night.
We get the Heat. Against the Heat. Yep. He was in the right place, right time.
He made a great job coming up from the 3-point line, ran in to grab the rebound, and that's like an IQ that you want out of your backup point guard.
Marcus Smart has had a pretty good start to the year. I mean, he's always going to be a defensive player of the year candidate.
Marcus Smart is Marcus Smart. We've come to expect that.
Yep. Another Eastern Conference team we get to, the Heat. they started slow. I know Jimmy Butler missed a few games.
He had his struggles even when he did play.
Yep. Dragic was brought back. He's shot not nearly as well as he did last year. And they're actually not playing Kendrick Nunn as much, which is surprising.
You want Kendrick Nunn? I mean, they think they're on Harrow more than Kendrick Nunn as the year went on.
That's true, yeah.
So it looks like they found a guy they'd rather play.
Oh, let's get to the big rumor in the NBA. What about the potential James Harden trade? What do we see him getting moved? Where do you think he goes?
I think the Rockets would be smart to trade him. I think a lot of teams would be smart to pick him up. Because I know a lot of fans don't want to see James Harden traded their team just because he takes a lot of shots.
Yeah.
James Harden isn't a guy you pass up. I mean, he's
Never.
James Harden.
Never.
35 points per game.
8 assists, 8 boards.
One of the greatest scorers ever.
Exactly.
I've seen a lot of rumors of him to Philly for a Ben Simmons trade. I'm not sure how contracts will work out there, but I also seen rumors of him from Boston. I know a lot of Boston fans don't want him, but when you have guys like Tatum and Brown, who lack the in-game consistency, like I said, you need a guy like James Harden who can take over whenever and put up 10, 15 points in a quarter.
I think I would like the James Harden to Boston move if they could find a way to keep Tatum and Brown.
I think they need to keep J&J. Kemba Walker would probably be the expendable piece in that.
Because you could just put Harden at the 1.
Yep, I see a package going Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, a couple firsts, maybe Aaron Nesmith, maybe a Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah, I think Aaron Nesmith has a lot of potential.
It's just when you work in the lineup like Peyton Pritchard has.
Yeah, and Houston is a team where you can shoot threes, so Nesmith fits perfectly there.
Yep.
The other place we've seen a lot is Milwaukee. Imagine that Harden and Antetokounmpo duo.
They'd have to give up a lot for that. They'd have to give up Middleton. They'd probably have to give up Holiday. They'd have to give up basically everyone.
Yeah. And then the other place I've seen is the Heat. And I heard the Heat were they didn't want to trade Tyler Hero. They didn't want to trade Duncan Robinson.
Which I think is stupid. I mean,
That's what I said.
Tyler Hero is not James Harden, and there's a very good chance he does not become James Harden.
Like, I think Tyler Hero can get to being an all-star player in his career. But James Harden is a superstar. I mean, he can lead a team. He hasn't proven it yet, but we all know he can lead a team to this place.
Jimmy Butler is getting up there in age.
Yeah.
Spoelstra is probably getting a little desperate. He hasn't had a championship-level team since he got to Miami, and they are missing that second superstar, that number one option they can have. James Harden's that guy. I know management's getting impatient.
Absolutely. I think you have to keep Jimmy and Bam.
Jimmy and Bam, you got to keep.
But I would easily, no doubt, ship out Tyler Hero, Kendrick Nunn, probably Chris Silva because he's up and coming, Precious Achiuwa, who's their first round pick this year, and then a pick or two.
No, I think it's more of a question if Miami can get enough assets to trade over there without giving up Adebayo.
I don't know if you can give up Adebayo. I mean, like you said, it is James Harden, but Adebayo is an up-and-coming player in the league.
Yep, yeah, he's obviously younger, but you also got to take into account Jimmy Butler's age. I know he's going to get impatient.
Yeah.
That's why he ended up in Minnesota. Young dudes didn't care.
Yep.
Philadelphia, young dudes didn't care. Miami, young dudes, they care, but they're super young. They're super raw.
Absolutely. The other place that I saw him potentially going was to Dallas, and I don't like that fit at all.
No.
Luka Doncic is a developing all-star / superstar. He needs the ball in his hands to succeed.
Yep, James Harden is one of those dudes who, whatever team he's going to, he's going to have the ball in his hands.
Absolutely.
80% of the time, 80% of possessions. Luka Doncic is already that guy. He's proven to be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't see James Harden fit there, especially when they're very similar players.
Exactly. Very similar players. All right, well, to finish that up, let's just say let's make one bold prediction that you'll see, trade prediction you'll see in the NBA.
Well, I don't think it's bold, but I think the most likely big move would be James Harden to either Boston or Philly.
Okay. All right, I'm going to say my prediction is, and it is kind of bold, I think Zach LaVine ends up in Dallas.
Zach LaVine, and I like that. I really like that. Zach LaVine, he's been the number one option in Chicago.
He's a complimentary player, which works perfect with Doncic.
I think he's proven that he's not an actual number one option on the championship team.
Mm-hmm.
But he can play off ball great. You can dish it to him alley-oop. He can drive. He can shoot all right off the dribble.
Yeah.
So, he can get you buckets when you need him to. And that's the kind of guy Luka Doncic needs to compliment him.
Right. And I think the package you're looking at, you're probably going to have to go with Tim Hardaway Jr.
Tim Hardaway.
That's where it starts. You'll probably have to move Maxi Cleveland. He's young and he's got potential.
Definitely give up Any picks you have the next 3-4
I
years?
think Josh Green, who they drafted this year in the first round, will be going back, and then probably 2 or 3 first rounders over the next couple years. For Zach LaVine and Thaddeus Young to equal out the contracts.
I like it. I think that really will propel the Mavs from borderline contenders to legitimate contenders.
I think I agree. That would be that's a good big three. That can compete with a lot of big threes. Luka, Zach, and if you can ever stay healthy, Porzingis.
Yeah.
So, all right. Is there anything else you wanted to cover? Or?
No, there's not. That's all we have. We hope you guys tune in to us next week. Hopefully we can put together a little more organized show for y'all.
We'll work on it. Hope y'all enjoy. This has been Next Man Up, and have a wonderful week.
Peace.